Every Sunday, Anura, a Sri Lankan tea merchant who lives in Beijing, and his wife Panxia take their 2 children, Happy and Wanrong, to the Nansha Park for their martial arts practice. Also, on every Sunday, Jakundo, Secretary General of the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce in China, and his wife O Lifan take their 3 children to worship at the Sacred Heart Cathedral. A pharmacologist based in Philadelphia, and his wife Debbie make frequent business trips between the US and China. Anytime they're free, the couple submerge themselves in Chinese history and culture. Throughout the ages, immigrants have seen marriages with natives as a survival strategy to give stability and protection in a foreign environment. It was also a very human way to consolidate overseas trade routes. Over time, it's also helped the integration of different cultures.
Happy 干嘛 ？Happy， 你捡起来，你不能丢。我说了不可以丢，你捡起来，去吧，站起来。
弟弟给弄断的吧？
不管谁弄断没关系 ，Happy， 我说了这些东西坏了我们可以买，但是你不能丢掉。
是旺旺拽的，我刚刚看见你旺旺拽。
没关系，谁孩子就拽正常。
那也不行，人家老弄哥哥。
哎呀，谁让他做自己的哥哥呢？是不是？不弄你弄谁呀？你说呢？
那也不行，老欺负哥哥呀，是不是？对。
哎呦，哥哥才会有话。
Anura and Panxia met through martial arts, and they've been together for 13 years. With 2 adorable children, their life is more fun than ever.
现在我们只想的是这块呢，我们用最快的速度把这个背下来。登鹳雀楼，
王之涣，
白
日依山尽，
白日依山尽是吧？
黄河入海流，
黄河入海流，
日
穷
千里目，更上一层楼。
我们把我们的胸怀要放大，我们懂得更多，我们看的东西会更远。中国呢还有一句话叫什么来着？站得高，看得远。以前把他跟你讲，还记得吗？那是什么意思呢？
So we're gonna make a Chinese steamed dumplings. It's American style, right?
Yeah, the sausage.
Yeah.
Wei and Debbie have been together for 26 years. Elements of Chinese culture are interwoven into their daily life.
So this is Chinese American 包子，中美结合的。
And we used to do this like when you were little. We used to like doing it.
Can we try one? Come on.
So
What do you have to do?
Your dad's like the expert.
You knit them together at the top.
You like pinch them a little bit to make it seal. Mine fell apart, but the first one was okay. If it won senior year.
Jill Price.
So Kevin, am I a better chef than you?
No competition,
Whatever
right?
you want to think, Mom.
See, you're being nice.
Mom,
Let's
I'm
try
not
it. Let's
either.
try it. Okay, let's try yours first.
All right, we'll try yours first, and we'll see if mine's better or not.
You want to help me out?
Yeah.
I'm not as strong as I look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't what else they always say cooked with what?
Why not? Cooked with love.
After graduating from Peking University as a chemistry major, in 1985 He Wei went to study in the US. His supervisor was Professor Paquette, a member of the NAS. It was under Professor Leo Paquette's guidance that He Wei obtained his doctorate and completed his postdoctoral research. Afterwards, when he was working on developing cutting-edge medicines, he met Debbie, the love of his life.
Do you remember the first day we met? We had a lot of fun. Like, you used to come to my dorm room, and you would send me flowers in my dorm room. I don't know if you remember that, but my roommates sometimes would get mad at me because I get too many flowers. Sometimes when we wanted to be alone, we would go down and sit by the river and talk, and sometimes you would sing to me.
Yeah, I can't sing, so that's
You
not
couldn't
true.
sing then, but you did sing to me then.
It's okay. So
We really had a good time, and that's why we started dating. We didn't date very long before we got married, because I remember you even asking me what I would say if you asked me to marry me, to marry you, and I said, sure, I would marry you. I was like 19 at the time, but then you actually did. I'm like, whoa, he was really serious. But I even told you I would think about it, and you were patient with me, and I did realize that you were really someone that I could spend my life with, and you were very special to me. But both of our families kind of freaked out.
yes.
Because it was such a short time, and like even when I called my parents and I said I'm engaged, they're like, to who? And so when I told them, they were like, is he going for a visa? Is there a different reason that he's like marrying you? And I said, no, we've been friends for a while, and we've been dating. Your parents really wanted you to like come back home, so they didn't want you to marry somebody from America. We had a little bit of convincing to do on both ends on that it was really a real thing, and that we really loved each other.
Having overcome objections from both families, they finally joined hands in holy matrimony. Their marriage has lasted for 26 years and produced 4 children. This interracial marriage, though full of happiness, has not been without quarrels and problems. He Wei has never stopped valuing the Chinese tradition of family reunion, even though the families are oceans apart. So he's often brought his wife and kids on a 30-hour journey back to his hometown in Anhui province.
Do you remember when we first went to China in 1993 for your brother's wedding?
Mm-hmm.
It was in December. But at the time, I didn't know how far it actually was, like the flight itself. So the flight was, 15 hours?
Uh-huh.
And then instead of flying from Shanghai to your hometown, we rented a cab.
Yeah, my
another,
brother and my dad.
So it was another 15 hours drive with a baby. But once I got there, the drive in the cab, I felt like I wanted to go home before I got there, because the cab driver wouldn't stop smoking. It was cold, it was dark, I was tired. The baby was crying. We stopped to go to the bathroom. It wasn't what I thought. And so by the time we got to your parents' house, it was like 2 a.m. I was very close to catching the next jet plane back to the United States.
The blending of cultures can bring joy to a marriage, but it can also mean unimaginable hardship. Jacundo and his wife O Lifang met through business. Their 17-year marriage has been such a bumpy ride that it prompted them to establish a support group for Chinese Nigerian marriages.
For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Yeah.
我的父母是极力反对，然后我的姐姐呢也是，跟我呢就是因为这个事情也是关系弄得很僵。
Then I called my father and my mother and tell them that as I'm here now, that I'm already see the person that I will be my wife. The family that I come from cannot allow me So after Mama married this
Woman.
Chinese wife, I will go again in Africa to marry. They can't. So they warned me that I should choose.
中国人结婚是需要对方的那个单身证明，要去使馆，要认证，有这些东西我们以前没有办过，就是办一个证一个证麻烦，办一个证一个证麻烦。
在这个婚姻的过程，我觉得这是一条艰辛的道路，一个坎一个坎的过来的。
This is a marriage between a culture, a different culture to a different culture. Okay? And we really want to know, as we are progressing, what has been happening in our homes. What has happened in our homes. Are we going to the right direction, or is there any difficulty that maybe you think you want to solve? You can speak it out, even if it's in the child document issue, or maybe school issue.
他们学校大概他是第一个黑色混血儿，然后他们班级就有一个小朋友老是喊他，老师不在嘞，他又过来去跑到他座位上去逗他嘛，干嘛的？我说他没见过，上1年级的时候就遇到过这个问题。
You see, sometimes my wife can go to the school. If there is any kid that have been disturbing, you can report to the school management. They take care of them immediately. I've been seeing you many times on the road, but I don't know you have this problem. Okay? Yeah, and because when you see me on the road, you can let me know. That's why we have this forum. You see, everything comes little by little. Okay? Now, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Bless us, O Lord, this I gift about to receive through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Being a cross-cultural family, Jacinto and his wife attach great importance to the children's identity issues as they're growing up. Understanding the different beliefs of their parents, as well as learning and knowing different languages and traditions, are part of the children's daily life.
我搞了2个。
我搞2个，这意思说一个是你的，一个是我的。
2个都是我的。
那你觉得这次去露营，你觉得你自己最大的收获是什么呢？
我们去了西头村，挺远的，2个小时。
很远啊。
挺远，不是很远。
哦 ，sorry， 这是我的普通话，不是没有你们好啊。
我们上的那种山呢，是那种真正的野山啊，没有开发过的，就没有那是什么路啊，用拿着竹子这样子爬上去的。
那是不是农村地方啊？为什么他们带你们去那里？
就通过这个活动，你自己。
我知道他们农村的人很辛苦。
妹妹1个星期才回来1次，那你在学校，你觉得怎么样？
最好的就是水上的，水上的那个撕名牌啊，然后跟爸爸兄弟啊。
哎，听说你在你们有一个烹饪班，你学了什么东西啊？
学了蛋挞呀，就是之类的点心蛋糕。
你最喜欢吃的是哪一个？
蛋挞。
那个先生他们有没有对你好？或者是看你是外国人？
有啊。有啊。
老师呢
？2年级刚来的时候，各个人都欢迎我。
The history of overseas traders marrying locals can be dated back to the Ming Dynasty. In the early 15th century, Chinese businessmen from Fujian and Guangdong came to settle in Southeast Asia, and they married local women of Malay or other origins. Their sons were called Baba and daughters Nyonya. Some people also called them local-born Chinese. Sherry is an artist based in Kuala Lumpur. Her works often have a Nyonya culture theme. Her grandmother was a Nyonya, so she's very interested in the cultural origins related to her ethnicity.
You see this one, the phoenix, huh? And the color, I think it's quite matching. It's very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Only have the phoenix is because that the Nyonya cultures, the queens of the house. That's why only painted for the phoenix. in the symbolize that the Nyonya is the queen of the house.
In the Baba Nyonya culture, Chinese traditions and Malay culture blend together. Its influence can be seen in religion, language, costumes, and food, so Sherry has an infinite source of inspiration. To make sure future generations know about their origins, Sherry explained the family history to her son Samson and his fiancée just before their wedding.
Well, Samson and Renee, as you know, Samson's great-grandfather is from China, and he's a merchant, and he came to Malaya here, married his great-grandmother. During when he got married, and his business grew very well, and he also shared a lot of Chinese culture to his great-grandmother. Our family, we speak Hokkien. It's actually from normally from the northern, we speak more Hokkien, right? And maybe you can learn a bit of Hokkien so that you can also communicate with the relative when you come into the house after you got married with Samson.
How do you say, have I eaten yet? Have you eaten yet?
Chak ba bui.
Chak ba bui.
Renee, why don't you try one Uncle K?
Yeah, thank you.
Is it nice?
Yes, it is.
Yep, there's another type of kueh here. We call it kueh kochi. But you can see this kueh is look like the traditional Chinese dumpling.
So what is it called, Chinese dumpling in Hokkien?
Okay, it's called chang.
Chang.
Today, the majority of Babas and Nyonyas in Malaccan society don't speak Chinese. The language of their ancestors may have been lost, but customs like weddings and funerals, as well as Confucian values, have found a way to remain part of everyday life. Knowing some of their ancestors' history seems to give Samson and Rainey a sense of belonging. Somehow, the young couple is able to feel close to their ancestors by having a Baba Nyonya-style wedding. As with the history of Baba Nyonya, marrying locals is an efficient way for foreign merchants to blend in. It's the same with Anura and Panqia's marriage, which helped Anura adapt quite quickly to life in China.
海彪，今天是4月14号，你知道今天是什么节日吗？
斯里兰卡过年。
过年？
斯里兰卡。
是新年，知道吗？是每年的4月14号，我们叫新年。爸爸一定要带你们出去转一圈，然后看看我们斯里兰卡过年是说怎么样。妈妈都没去过，妈妈要不要这个？ 给我一件那个椰子粉。两个人在干嘛呀？别吵了，别。妈妈，听着，餐桌上不可以这样做，听见没？餐桌上不能这样做。吃饭是有讲究的啊。坐好。放手，哎，衣服先弄好，衣服先弄好了。等一下。
咬不动吗？妈妈。
可以啊，来吧。
手肉肉。啊，好好，妈妈你弄肉肉。
这样没有。他手里有勺子，让他自己来。
这个肉肉好吃吗？
今天还没有吃那个汤啊。
你喜欢吃爸爸做的咖喱鸡，还是喜欢吃妈妈做的牛肉炖萝卜？真的都喜欢。
这个有点硬。
哦。
Thanks to his fluent Chinese, Anura was hired and he was appointed as Regional General Agent in China by Imperial Tea Exports Limited in Sri Lanka. His task is to sell tea from its second home to its original home. World-famous Ceylon black tea is the national pride of Sri Lanka. What makes Anura even more proud is that because of his work, more and more Chinese people are starting to show an interest in Ceylon tea.
这样，刚才我听了您的那个想法，我觉得非常好，非常好。那我的想法是什么呢？正好我们河北省目前是没有设立一个经销商，那好，这块是我们完全是可以去合作的。所以呢，您一定对这个茶也有这么热情，对斯里兰卡有这么多那个热情，我觉得我们的合作肯定会成功。今天就是拿茶来代酒，以茶代酒。谢谢。祝我们合作成功。
Anura travels frequently between Beijing and Colombo. Every time he comes home, the tea auction market is the place he frequents the most. Adapting to the Chinese market and seeking the flavour of Ceylon tea that best suits Chinese consumers are the most important topics for Anura and his boss Jayantha every time they meet.
And the leaf it is. Right. And I think the Chinese consumer like the big leaf. These are very good peco teas, which is sold at very high prices.
Actually, the China market, most of consumer they would like to have a good appearance and good taste. Yes, sir. That in the China market is something is different because the tea they have a lot of very long tea history, so they need to something different. Good appearance, good smell, taste. Yeah. The standard they are choosing good tea is something different to Sri Lanka. Okay. I would like to have one of Chinese tea blend with the Ceylon tea, like similar, get Chinese taste with the Ceylon tea.
Yeah, but to have something better.
Different. Better thing.
Yes. This is Ceylon tea, good.
Green Ceylon tea.
Green Ceylon. Maybe you can see some good quality, but it's a little pungent. I'm sure the Chinese people will like this tea.
They will like this one.
Yeah. No, I'm going to buy this tea at the next auction. You know, it is colory, and also the liquor is very thick. Now this is the peach we are packing here. Yeah. For Chinese market.
Now this is a perfect package.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything, any amendment.
Because it's already printed now.
Yeah.
Because of his achievements in opening up the Chinese market for Ceylon tea, the President and former Premier of Sri Lanka have both met with Anura in person and honoured him with an award for outstanding contribution to China-Sri Lanka trade. Anura owes his success to his obsession with Chinese culture. He became a pupil of the master crosstalk comedian Mr. Ding Guangzhou. He's been practicing the skills of comedy performance for 10 years.
前丁老师说过一句话什么呢？一天不练自己知道，2天不练师傅知道，3天不练观众知道。扁的长，板凳宽，板凳没有扁的长，扁的没有板凳宽，扁的要板到了板凳上，那个板凳不让扁的板到了板凳上。
啊，你跟我学3句话。
好，
记住了。学3句。说我吃饭，我也请你吃饭。
说我吃饭， 也请您吃饭。
错了没有？
错了。错了。
你看啊，记住了啊，我吃饭，我也请你吃饭。
我吃饭，我也请您吃饭。
我喝茶，我也请你吃茶。
喝茶。喝茶。
我喝茶，我也请你吃茶。
我喝茶，也请您喝茶。
错了吧？
啊，我喝茶，也请您吃茶。
错了吧？
没错啊。
错了。
没错啊。
错了没有？
错了。
咱们说，刚才我问你，咱们说几句
？3句。
对，第一句我说我吃饭，我也请你吃饭，你怎么说的？
我吃饭，我也请您吃饭。
第二句我说我喝茶，我也请你吃茶，你怎么说的？
我喝茶，我也请您吃茶，没错呀。
第三句我说错了吧？
哎，这个也算呢。
这多新鲜呢！要不然怎么说3句？
With the help of his wife Debbie, He Wei soon adapted to life in America and immersed himself in the development of new medicines. His colleagues call He Wei a pharmaceutical genius. In 1992, he started to experiment and synthesize new drugs for a computational corporation. Soon, he was leading a team focused on developing new drugs for heart and stomach diseases, diabetes, and cancer. During research, he's always able to find the crux of the problem, and it is this that points them in the right direction to find the ultimate solution.
这是什么原因呢？主要是第一个就是说我们公安部委托的这个研发员导览。
In terms of treating cancer, He Wei and his team have been leading the world from as early as the 1990s. In the past 2 decades, he has designed or led the production of numerous new drugs that were then approved by the FDA, generating billions of dollars of profit for the company. He Wei's former employer Jack talks about how impressed he's been by He's achievements over the years.
It's been 9 years already. That was quite an exciting time when you decided to come work with us. We gave you the hardest problem.
Yeah, 11 beta. That
11 beta. 11 beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase.
Against diabetes.
Against diabetes, against obesity, against glaucoma. But the fun part, we've dealt with fairly rigid enzymes up to then. So we said we really have to increase the difficulty of the program for a way. Then you had to come up with what would fit in these little pockets. So it was a tremendous challenge.
Actually, I think at the peak time, so I decided it's time for me to be an entrepreneur and left the company to join Anura to direct business development because I feel that I'm an entrepreneur. I can take advantage of all the CRO platforms China has to offer. So this way we have a more cost-effective drug discovery and development.
Well, I think you were right to do it. Well, we missed you enormously at VT. That goes without saying. So I think many a tear was shed by Dr. Claremont, for example, and other chemists in the group. But everybody was proud to see you move on and succeed in your latest endeavors now, working to really do discovery for China in China.
When developing new drugs, He Wei is always under tremendous pressure. Love from his family and support from Debbie have given him great courage and strength.
You know, like, that is really amazing. I'm really proud of what you're doing. I know you're over there working really hard. It'll be amazing if actually, you know, your drug does work and helps, you know, cure cancer or like even reduce some of the tumors so people can live longer.
You know, my dad died of cancer when he was 65. So although the cancer drugs I developed cannot help my dad, I'm hoping he can save a lot of lives for other people as a father or mothers.
Hopefully, everything will work the way you want it to. You've hit some snags along the way with different things, but I do believe everything will work out okay.
Due to his father's death, developing drugs that have fewer side effects and a higher recovery rate for cancer and immunological diseases is not only a cutting-edge field in medicine, but also a personal goal for He Wei. With his wife's support, He Wei has returned to China as a specially invited expert of the 1,000 Talents program. He will be developing new drugs using an ideal, innovative methodology based on his years of experience. The port of Guangzhou is a major stop on the Maritime Silk Road. For 2,000 years it has witnessed countless voyages departing and returning. Guangzhou is the 4th largest port in China and the 5th in the world by total cargo handling capacity. Some 20 years ago, Giocondo came to Guangzhou all the way from Africa. Back then, China's Pearl River Delta was already a significant manufacturing base of the world. Hardware and home appliances made here at a very competitive price in international markets. Giocondo's insight brought him considerable gains. Ports, tariffs, warehouses, all these are deeply connected to his business, which is why he's made a special trip to the newly established Nansha Free Trade Zone in Guangzhou.
是2-3个，我想知道，因为是我们有很多外国人知道这里是刚刚开发了，我想过来问一下，可不可以在这里做生意？
可以的。那自从我们今年的5月8号开始，我们对外商投资的企业实行了一个负面清单的审批转备案制，也就是说流程简化了，时间缩短了。
这里呢，那个税呢，税高不高？
税收呢？目前我们南沙自贸区的一个政策是在行政区域和在自贸区域的税收是一样的，但是它自贸区因为针对的是一个贸易自由、货币自由，然后关税是免的，所以针对一些外商投资企业来讲，在这一方面的优惠以及就是吸引的力度还是挺大的。
是一样的。
Giocondo's career also owes much to the support of his wife over the years. The couple always consult each other and work as a team whenever problems arise.
哎呀，他们那时候跟我这个是中文的新闻。这如果是我们在那里开公司啊、投资啊，那个税不用付税，
就是免税。
我们那时候是自贸区那里。
那除了税，还有其他的那个优惠政策。
除了那个税，还有另外一个，如果比如说我从那个外国我过来，没有考虑那个 export import documents, exchange rates, exchange for foreign exchange， 哎，那里很好啊，很方便，还有很多银行那里可以慢慢的把这个，还有，我觉得那里好。生活配套啊，比如说医院啊、学校啊、交通啊。 还有那个买东西啊，什么都有，什么都有，什么都有。我的意思说，我们住那里啊，那里安静，交通很好，做生意那里有机会。
In the traditional pharmaceutical industry, top priorities are labs, equipment, and research staff. But He Wei wants to create a new model. Supported by Bai Hua, president of Haisuan Pharmaceutical, He Wei decided to form a one-man drug company. As chief designer of new drugs and manager of the company, he will be outsourcing work to laboratories, companies, and colleges. This will greatly lower the cost of research. In 2011, He Wei founded Zhejiang Daoming Medical Technologies, and he started developing a new drug for targeted treatment of B-cell lymphoma. After 3 years of hard work, Huawei submitted the clinical application for the new drug to the China State Food and Drug Administration and the FDA. A few months later, Huawei obtained approvals from both authorities and started clinical trials, an accomplishment which is unprecedented in the global pharmaceutical industry. In order to give Huawei full support, Debbie often comes to China with him. And every time she's here, she's impressed by the sheer scale and depth of Chinese culture. Huawei and his wife have come to Mao Hutong to visit the former residence of Wanrong, the last Empress of China, to learn how to make soft pottery from Ms. Zhao Chunqiang, an arts and crafts master.
这个土条里边有刚才我们讲过的这个呼吸管理、意念管理，甚至是动作的所有管理。
This seemingly simple dance of clay and fingers is a mixture of Zen and Taoist Chinese philosophy. It interprets a deeper meaning behind a traditional Chinese folk custom.
还没有做到细致管理的时候，就会发生粗细的不均。然后呢，您那个呢，你也达不到这样，因为啥？你一直在套在手上。 实际真正的去做这个既长又匀的动作，你会发现有一气呵成的道路。
The more she learns about Chinese culture, the fonder Debbie grows of China, and this helps her to be more supportive of Huawei's Chinese enterprise. Anura used to be a national martial arts champion in Sri Lanka, and now he's been invited by an elementary school in Beijing to be a part-time martial arts coach. He comes to the school regularly to teach the children.
大家做好准备了。 怎么样？
The majority of Nigerians are Catholics, and Sunday is a time for prayer and gathering for the expats. Being a committed Catholic himself, Jakundo does volunteer work at the church. Old Li Fang and their 3 children come to the services too. It's been 30 years since He graduated from his alma mater. Now he's bringing his wife back to Peking University to rediscover traces of his youth.
Debbie, this is the chemistry building.
Is that where a lot of your classes were and everything?
Yeah, when we walked to university at 1981, we started here. Most of the classes were taken here, but we also taking classes in other buildings. We also took chemistry labs here. There are also labs somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
Look at the building. It's pretty, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's really pretty.
冯老师，您好，您好，非常高兴见你。这是我太太。
我是化学系的分析化学老师，我今年已经82岁了。那个我这个化学楼是54年建的。
Built in 1954.
老化学楼。那个时候我就在这当学生。何伟他非常聪明，非常有创造性。 所以听见他的一些成就，我是非常非常高兴，我非常骄傲，我的学生都挺棒的。
This is a building I stayed when I was a 4-year undergrad at Peking University. If you look up there, the third window is my dorm at room 505. So good old memories.
Like a pair of birds embarking on a journey together, husband and wife in a mixed marriage not only walk into each other's homeland, they also enter a different culture. The intersection of languages, the clash of traditions, as well as new experience of food, together write a wonderful melody that's the most beautiful part of the journey. A memorial ceremony is now being held in the Wu Ancestral Temple in Mei County, Guangdong. Paying tribute to their ancestors in the home village is the most profound expression of nostalgia for overseas Chinese.
中法洋洋系三个水长，五十家族系源远流长，此次一出多。 再出多，三出多，放上。
Wu Wentong was born of a marriage between his Chinese and Thai parents. His father is a Thai-born Chinese and his mother a descendant of the royal family. Every spring, Wu Wentong returns to Mei County, Guangdong province for the ancestor worship ceremony. His ancestor Wu Miaoyuan went to Thailand some 150 years ago. He was of Hakka origin. Although he settled in a foreign land, Wu Miaoyuan never forgot his home. 3 years after his death, he was finally returned here, escorted by his family. The Songkou Pier, which witnessed innumerable Hakka immigrants leaving for Southeast Asia, was where Wu Miaoyuan boarded his ship and left home 150 years ago. Along the Mei River, there was an old folk song that has been sung for 1,000 years. The great river flows eastward. To the pier I walked with my love. No blade is sharp enough to cut water. No blade is sharp enough to end sorrow. As a survival strategy, mixed marriage transcends cultural differences and creates new cultures. Inheritance of culture and skills ensures prosperity for a family, as well as releasing fresh momentum for a society. This is why people keep passing on the torch from generation to generation.
Father was from a traditional Chinese family. Mother was, royal descent. So it all started with him.
All started with him. This is the first generation. แต่ในบ้านมีอาชีพหลักเลย
อาชีพหลักคือทำนา
ทำนาไม่พอพอไหมไม่ค่อยพอ
我们在这边就是疫苗很欠缺，技术上也相对比我们那边落后。
98年我来的时候，里面都是一块布，没有衣服穿。98年后，我们中国人来了，带了衣服来了。你爸带动一个家族来到马达加斯加，你也要承受着这家族的责任。
在这边要熬得起，忍得住，接触多了，自然而然的就融入了吧。
尽量找一些出路来解决他们的问题。OK。那个就刚才我的是放生老虎的地方。When you already have been success with your business, give back to save the nation. We give back to pay and to thank to the God.
So I started thinking, well, there's another country of my ancestors up there. There has to be something that I have to explore.